A giant asteroid impact on the distant frozen world of Pluto deep in its past is offering new insights into the possibility of an ocean beneath the dwarf planet's icy surface. Ever since NASA's New Horizons spacecraft flew past Pluto in July last year, evidence has been mounting that the dwarf planet may have a liquid ocean beneath its surface. Now, a new study, reported in the journal Geophysical Research Letters, has modelled the impact dynamics which formed a massive crater on Pluto's surface, providing scientists with estimates of exactly how deep that subsurface ocean might be. The study, led by Brown University geologist Professor Brandon Johnson, found that the ocean beneath the impact crater is likely to be at least 100 kilometres deep. The new research also offers a clue about the composition of the ocean, suggesting that it's likely to have a salt content somewhat similar to Israel's Dead Sea. Johnson says previous thermal models of Pluto's interior and tectonic evidence found on its surface have suggested that an ocean could exist, but little was known about its possible size or, for that matter, its composition. In order to try and resolve the issue, the authors focused on the Sputnik Planum, a massive 900-kilometre wide basin which makes up the western lobe of Pluto's famous heart-shaped feature, first discovered by New Horizons during its historic flyby. The basin appears to have been created by the impact of an object at least 200 kilometres wide. The story of how the basin relates to Pluto's ocean starts with the basin's position on the planet relative to Pluto's binary partner and largest moon, Charon. Pluto and Charon are tidally locked with each other, meaning they always show each other the same face as they rotate around a common centre of gravity. Sputnik Planum sits directly on the tidal axis, linking the two worlds. The very fact that it's in that position suggests that the basin has what's known as a positive mass anomaly. In other words, it has more mass at this location than the average for Pluto's icy crust. So, as Charon's gravity pulls on Pluto, it would pull proportionally more on areas of higher mass. And that would eventually rotate or tilt the dwarf planet until Sputnik Planum became directly aligned with the tidal axis. The problem is, having a positive mass anomaly makes Sputnik Planum rather unusual as craters go. You see, to be an impact crater in the first place basically means you're a hole in the ground caused by a huge amount of material being ejected as a result of the impact. So you'd actually expect to have a negative mass anomaly caused by all the missing material. But that's not what Johnson and colleagues discovered at Sputnik Planum. And that got the team thinking about the possible sorts of events that could turn a negative into a positive mass anomaly. Now, part of the answer is that after it formed, the impact basin would have been partially at least filled by nitrogen ice. However, while that ice layer would add some mass to the basin, it simply wouldn't be thick enough on its own to make Sputnik Planum have positive mass. So, where did the additional mass come from? Well, the best solution is that the additional mass would have been generated by liquid seeping from the surrounding substrate. Johnson says it's a bit like a bowling ball being dropped onto a trampoline. The large impact creates a dent on the planet's surface, followed by a rebound. That rebound then pulls material upward from deep within the dwarf planet's interior. And if all that upward material is denser than what was blasted away by the impact, the crater ends up with the same sort of mass as what it had before the impact happened. It's a phenomenon geologists refer to as isostatic compensation. Now, water is denser than ice, so if there was a layer of liquid water beneath Pluto's ice shell, it may have welled up following the Sputnik Planum impact, evening out the crater's mass. So if the basin started out with neutral mass, then the nitrogen layer deposited later would be enough to create a positive mass anomaly. However, for this scenario to be correct, it requires a liquid ocean. Johnson and colleagues ran computer models of the impact to see if this is something that would actually occur, finding that the production of a positive mass anomaly would actually be quite sensitive to just how thick the ocean layer was. And it's also sensitive to how salty that ocean is, because the salt content affects the density of the water. The models simulated the impact of a large object big enough to create a basin of Sputnik Planum size, hitting Pluto with the sorts of speeds expected in that part of the solar system. The simulation assumed various thicknesses of the water layer beneath the crust, from no water at all to a layer of water some 200 kilometres thick. And the scenario that best simulated Sputnik Planum's observed size depth, while also producing a crater with compensated mass, was one in which Pluto had an ocean layer over 100 kilometres thick and with a salinity of around 30%. What this tells us is that if Sputnik Planum is indeed a positive mass anomaly, and it certainly appears as though it is, a liquid ocean layer at least 100 kilometres deep has to be there. And of course that raises more questions about just how an object in such a dark, cold region of the outer solar system can even have a liquid ocean to begin with. Clearly the mystery continues.